Well, hey there, everybody. I'm Jack, and this is Raw Tropical Living. Thanks for joining me today. Hope you're all having a good weekend. I'm having a great Saturday here. In fact, I'll show you something. Oy. I went out this morning and got some really good cantaloupe. And this is from a local farmer I got some stuff from last year. His watermelons have been good, so I'm pretty excited about these. Anyhow, today I want to talk about beginner's mind, the eyes of a child. Guys, I do videos every day, so if you're not already subscribed to the channel, I'd appreciate it if you go down and hit that subscribe button now. Then be sure you click on the little bell and check send notifications so you'll stay subscribed to the channel and can come check out some more of my content. Today I'm going to read again from the Lion Drawer. Such a great little magazine. I go through articles and I never sit down and read the thing, you know. I just kind of like pick it up, read an article, see what feels good for that day. And I came across another one I really wanted to share because this kind of speaks a little bit to the heart of my mindfulness meditation practice. And the article is How to Cultivate Your Beginner's Mind, and it's by an Ezra Beda. Beginner's mind, Shoshin, is a term in Zen Buddhism that describes a mind that is eager, without preconceptions and open to possibility. As the late Zen teacher Shunryu Suzuki Roshi famously said, in the beginner's mind, there are many possibilities. In the expert's mind, there are few. One of the programs I use for meditation has a guided meditation that's used that one a number of times, and that one's always like really resonated with me. In the beginner's mind, there are many possibilities. In the expert's mind, there are few. One way to invoke beginner's mind is to go back to the fundamentals of meditation practice, which are rooted in two essential questions. What's going on right now? And what is my practice in this situation? You could spend a long time working on nothing but these two questions, and it would no doubt be very fruitful. Let's start with the first question. What's going on right now? At the most basic level, what's going on at the moment is that you're reading this article. But what else is going on? I find it helpful to break that down into three components: the physical, mental, and emotional. Starting with what's going on physically, there are three specific areas you can always bring your attention to. The first is your posture. Feel it now and adjust as necessary. The second is your facial expression. We're rarely aware of the subtleties of our facial expressions. Feel it now, particularly in the tension around the mouth and eyes, and soften any tension. The third is overall bodily tension. Feel the whole of yourself almost as if you were outside of yourself, and then soften and relax into the body. Next, what's going on right now mentally? For example, is the mind clear or foggy? Perhaps it's sleepy or dull. Perhaps it's agitated. The point is just to be aware of what's happening in the mind, not judging that any mental state is particularly good or bad. Here it's often helpful to ask another question. What am I adding? For example, we may notice our worries or our judgments or one of our endless stories about how we think things are. We may notice our own particular patterns of thinking that we add to the present moment and tend to get caught up in, such as planning, conversing, or fantasizing. After checking in with the physical and mental components of what's going on, check in with your emotional state. Are you contented, emotionally neutral, or discontented? Again, it's helpful to notice that we're adding to the present moment. For example, what tone or mood are you adding? Are you bored, anxious, angry? Notice any dark filters? The point of asking what's going on right now and doing precise physical, mental, and emotional check-ins is to take the first step to wake up from our sleep. It's important to understand that awareness isn't like introspection, where we can wander endlessly into the mazes of the mind. We aren't concerned with the why of self-analysis, but with the what of who we are. Awareness isn't about memories of the past. It's not about reflections or free association or future experiences. Awareness is confined to what's actually going on within the space of the present moment. The attitude is non-judgmental and curious. Any should is antithetical to genuine awareness. Interestingly, there's always more than one thing going on. But if we're honest, most of the time we're hardly aware at all. And if we are aware, we're usually only aware of one aspect of our being, like physical discomfort or emotional distress. What's going on right now is the fundamental first question in all of our practice. It's the first step out of sleep. The suggestion is to ask this question repeatedly throughout the day, especially when we feel we're somehow stuck. Once we're aware of what's actually happening in the moment, what we're feeling and believing, the next crucial question is, what is my practice in this situation? In answering this question, the most important thing to remember is that practice is possible in only one place here, right now. So what we're specifically experiencing will determine what our practice will be. For example, if you're experiencing monkey mind, the mind that jumps from one thing to another, the mind that spins in thoughts, ask what would be a good practice to work with that. How about if you're sleepy or caught in emotional upset or self-judgment? What if nothing special is going on? What's the best practice in that situation? We have to remember that at times practice can seem very confusing. Sitting in meditation, we may sometimes wonder, what exactly am I doing here? We wonder if we're supposed to be staying with our breathing, labeling thoughts, or just trying to reside in the stillness. When strong emotions or deep beliefs arise, we might be even more likely to forget what we're supposed to do. So many of us, for example, forget to do loving kindness practice when we get caught in self-judgment. If at any moment you were to pause and ask yourself, what is my practice right now? A lot of the time, the honest answer might be, I don't know. This confusion doesn't arise because there are too many different practices to choose from. It's simply because we temporarily forget what we know. Half of what I do when talking to students is to remind them of what they already know. If we can remember to ask the final question, what am I leaving out? That will often point to what we will need to do. For example, we might be leaving out awareness of the breath, or the body, or the environment. We might be leaving out the labeling of our believed thoughts, or the crucial perspective of seeing our difficulties as a path. It will likely be helpful if, in our practice, we address whatever it is we're leaving out. If day by day, moment by moment, we continue to practice, to ask ourselves the essential practice questions, we will keep beginner's mind and a world of possibility alive. I was playing around with that a little bit yesterday in the park. I was just wandering around looking at things, kind of trying to go in, be a child again. But that's basically it, and that's why I really am about to start working more and more in mindfulness and sharing with people and helping people one-on-one and in groups as well, because I'm not like I'm an expert or anything, but I really believe in the power of this practice, and I believe in, like, it doesn't have to be formal. It doesn't have to be some like beginner's mind, mindfulness, awareness. It doesn't have to necessarily be sitting meditation. I know that intimidates some people, although it shouldn't. I would I'd recommend everybody have a practice of meditation with no pressure on yourself, just where you, whatever your practice is, you tune in every day. But the mindfulness, it's very applicable. It can be used in a moment's notice. I've not been on the path that I'm on for all that long, but I've been practicing mindfulness a bit for probably over 25 years. I've used aspects of mindfulness in tough times way back, even when I was living the crazy days. I remember one time bartending at a place that was just like, a power bartending job. You just had probably about 2,000 people a day coming through this restaurant and bar. You would just get crushed. You'd be in the weeds for any of y'all service people out there. And seriously, you could just come in and just be hours without being able to take a drink, think, or do whatever. So you know how people can be, and they push your buttons when you're a waiter or bartender. So there were a lot of times I had to simply walk in the back cooler that was behind the bar. Good, we had a walk-in cooler. And I had been reading, I've been reading Thich Nhat Hanh for 25 or 30 years. And I would just go back in that cooler and I would breathe. And I would be aware that I'm breathing in, aware that I was breathing out. And sometimes I would count, sometimes I wouldn't. But that could always kind of de-escalate the situation. So I wish some of these practices, the little tidbits of things that I caught a long time ago, had taken because it's only probably been about 2.5 years now, maybe 3, that I've really been practicing mindfulness, really focusing on it, practicing it on a daily basis, and sitting in daily meditation. I've had some times with this stiffness in my chest. I haven't been completely daily, but I'm back into it, and I do meditate most every day. I think last month I got back on the regular thing, and I missed a few days during the month. I'm probably missing a few days during this month, when I don't feel like I can't just, but it helps me too with this. I found like when I first started experiencing this, just, I couldn't get into my head, but now I'm, kind of using these things, playing with it, just observing what's going on. So that's just simple mindfulness, and I want to keep sharing more. So please, 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 if you're not already doing it, follow me on Instagram. You'll find me over there. It's Raw Tropical Living as well, because I'm sharing a lot more in the moment stuff and a little bit diversified over there. So anyhow, hope you guys enjoyed this one today. If you like it, please give me a thumbs up, and I'll see you again tomorrow. Peace.